back would have been for me. Well, I suppose if we do that, then we'll have to waste some time, waste some of that money this administration gave Iran to build more boats to harass our sailors rather than to sponsor state-sponsored terrorists. We have a great. That has also said that we had a greater transparency in handling of uranium for energy consumption. Well, they'll hide it better. Also, you said that you forgot your security training. Do we not have to worry about your temperament? We don't have to worry about your temperament. You'll be too busy trying to remember the nuclear missile codes. If you would read, talking about temperament, if you would read one half of the books written about your temperament, the closest to the Oval Office you should be is on a guided tour. Well, you see that I have a bent. There are other things that could have been done as far as Trump is concerned. Certainly, we know what he wants to do. My concern is that we need to identify a plan in which it's going to be done for both candidates. Yes, we have lofty goals. We want certain things done for our country, done for us. We want to protect our borders. We want to be nationalists rather than globalists. We don't want to have to apologize to other countries for us being a strong nation that we would seek to save and to protect our own. A couple of other things that I weren't really mentioned on the debate, but I'd like to comment on, is the allowing of people to come to our country without researching them. I'm sorry, I hate the word vetting. I think it's a disgusting word, so I'm going to use investigating them. We have to do a better job than deporting people rather than giving them citizenship. We have to make sure that we are not allowing people in to this country. We have to make sure that we're dispensing with things like sanctuary cities. I mean, I get it that was something that was done about 3,000 or 4,000 years ago under the law that was discussed by God in the Mosaic Law that were established. Well, this isn't Israel. This isn't 4,000 years ago. And the bottom line is that those people that were within that city could not come out, because if they did come out, then they would be killed, or they would have. And here's the other thing people don't understand, is that even when the destroyer would come, they would have to go through basically a trial before anything else could be done. So, there's a lot of working parts there. To call them sanctuary cities is leaving the rest of the population of the United States at the mercy of those illegal aliens that we catch and release. The other point that I would like to make, and this is general points of things that have been discussed in this election, in this running off for the presidency, is that of illegal immigrants. Personally, I think that people that have come in legally, have gone through the process, have taken the oath, who's proud to be an American, and has forsaken and renounced the countries that they came from, basically, that they would be incensed, absolutely incensed by people coming over illegally, getting on the food stamp system, getting into, the government's, what do I want to say, feed trough. I remember that during the primaries, when there was a debate amongst the Republicans about deporting the illegal immigrants, and the thing was written a number of times is that it would cost $6 billion of lost revenue to these companies that used illegal aliens. And I'm sitting back and I can't believe that businesses would say that, the Republicans would say that look, if we get rid of these illegal people, it's going to cost us money. It's going to cost companies money. So they're willing to skirt the law, they're willing to ignore that these people are illegal in order to be more profitable. So when you hear the fact that there's millions, and I don't know what those millions are, coming in, taking away the jobs from those people that need them, there's more to that story than just that. They're paying them a lower wage. Those wages are basically, they're not staying in the United States, but they're going to other countries to support families, support other people possibly that are coming over. Another thing about the sanctuary cities, illegal immigrants, is that there is such an epidemic of heroin within the Great Lakes area, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois. And I was talking to someone once and they were wondering, well, why in this area is it so specifically and so outrageously bad? If you look at the United States and you look at the interstate system, the freeways, what you will see is you will see Route 77 and Route 79 going up to the lakes. You'll see Route 90 and Route 80, the freeways, go out west into Illinois, into Iowa, all the way out to the west coast. You'll see the 65 and 64 and 75 go down south. You'll see Route 70 also that cuts through Columbus and goes out west to the United States. So what you're seeing is they're not toll roads, but they're freeways that are an easy transport of drugs. It's like a pipeline into the Great Lakes. And from there, it's like a distribution center that you can go into Ohio and disperse them, whether it's from Cincinnati or whether it's from Columbus or whether it's from Cleveland, and you can get those drugs into New York, you can get them into Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Illinois, because all those roads are converging. And you have 64, you have 65. You have all these different roads. It's kind of like a hub. So there's the problem with the drug trade. To build a wall would become nationalist. Some of the countries, watch HGTV, some of the countries that people go to that they're going to live in, unless they are a resident of that country, unless they are a citizen of that country, they are not allowed to own property. They're only allowed to lease or rent. I don't know how many countries there are that do that, but I know that there are some countries that will not allow you to own property if you're not a citizen. However, in the United States, if you got cash, you can buy any property that you want. Back in the 70s, in the early 80s, we had, during the Carter years, we had up to 18 to 21% interest on property. I mean, you could buy CDs and they were giving a great rate of return, sometimes 50%, 15%. But a lot of the West Coast was bought up by the Japanese. And then you had farmers that were leveraging their land to borrow, to buy grain, or to buy tractors, to update, to upgrade. And then when the housing market crashed, they're sitting with overvalued property that they're paying interest on those loans at 17, 18, 21%, and they went under. The funny thing, because of the group that I was in, and the work that I was doing once I got out of my group, there was at that time and there is now, but at that time there was a real push for these farmers to going into the Aryan nations and other white supremacist groups, simply because they saw that the bankers, which were controlled by the Jews according to the Aryan philosophy, was trying to take their stuff away. And they were blaming them because their farms were foreclosed on. So we look at that within the scope of what's going on in our country today, and we're saying, okay, you can come in and you can buy property and you can buy it cash, or you can invest like Japan did and get burned. But here's another, globalism rather than nationalism. What would happen if we said, okay, the only way that you can own land is to be a citizen? What would that cause as far as the protection of the United States, protection of its money, protection of its assets from foreign interests to come in and buy up our properties, buy up our companies, to buy the very economic base that people have stood on for so long, and have that ripped away from them. My father was just as much a victim of this as a lot of others in the steel mills and those that produced steel and other, whether it be cars, whether it be air conditioners, whether it be washing machines. Those jobs got transferred overseas because of the climate of the business. We also have trade deals that have been orchestrated by politicians, and what those have done is laid the United States victim to trade deficits that we owe countries money. China has bought up our debt because we keep on running a huge tab, which the third greatest payment will not be to pay down necessarily our deficit, but to pay off the taxes or the interest on our deficits. So there's a lot of things to look at within this election, a lot of things that we need to take a hard look at. One of the things that have been stated about a candidate is that they're a populist. Now, the whole thing about a populist is that you can be a populist Democrat, you can be a populist Republican, but the whole idea of populism